So when it comes to trading, I guess your favorite stock is Seal, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So Seal, I guess like that is what you're most comfortable with, right?
Yep. Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, man. Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
So what did you trade on today?
Today I had two trades. I mean, both were losing. The
Oh,
one was
indeed.
Tata Motors, and other one was Shriram Transport.
Oh, Sriram Transport and Tata Motors. Let's quickly have a look at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess you are trading only equities, right?
Yep. Yep.
You are kind of not at all getting into commodities, or you're not like finding your comfort in futures also. You're purely focusing on equities.
So right now the plan for me is like till October end I'll be purely focusing with equities,
Okay.
and post that I'll be moving into index. So right
Okay.
now just analyzing the index. So
You
just
have.
watching it out how exactly the movement is. Yeah, yeah,
So when it comes to trading, I guess your favorite stock is Seal, if I'm not wrong.
yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So Seal, I guess like that is what you're most comfortable with, right?
Yep.
Okay. And what about Tata Motors? Like when it comes to Tata Motors and all, like how do you find it?
Yeah, I do trade in Tata Motors. I
Hmm.
do find comfort in that as well.
Hmm.
So today I was just, watching it to give a breakout from 128.
Okay.
Uh, it did give a breakout initially, but then it got reversed. So it hit
Okay.
my SL, and then it was perfectly into my setup. Like I usually follow 1:3.
One is like
So
that's pretty good, man. Like one is to three. So you kind of never think about trailing and all, or you always wait for your 1:3 to get achieved.
I usually wait for 1:3 to get achieved, and then I start moving myself.
Okay.
So this week was pretty amazing. Like I got two trades in Zeal that was 1:10.
Yeah.
Both hit 1:10.
So that's very,
So
so I personally have not been getting anything more than 1:2.5 or maximum 1:3 these days. 1:10 is like okay. I guess you
yeah,
traded yesterday. That 1:10 trade
yeah.
yesterday when the market okay
Uh,
why didn't move
yeah,
negative
it
side.
was on Monday. It
Okay.
was on Monday as well. And yesterday also yesterday it gave me more than 1:10.
Yeah.
But then it broke the support at 180. So I thought to trail so that maybe it can go more
Yeah.
than 1:10. But
Okay.
then later on, the very next candle got reversed, and my trailing SL got hit.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
today I missed the same opportunity because of the office call. So it
Okay.
gave a breakout again at the same level, and today again it went to 1:10 in
Fine.
Zeal.
Okay. No problem. Like, do you kind of regret missing on the trade?
No, 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 no. I completely controlled my FOMO. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't look into like if I miss some opportunity, that's fine. I mean, I just look for something else.
Yeah. So it's
I
like
don't chase it.
since so since you have mentioned that most of your setups are like 1:3, that means like even if you get let's say two losing trades, the third one will kind of make up. Or if you get three losing trades also,
Yeah, yeah,
one
yep,
winning trade would kind of make up for all the three
yes,
losing trades that you have taken. That's a big take.
completely,
So
completely,
what risk do
completely.
you take usually per trade, like right now?
Per trade right now, I'm trading with a capital of like 40, 50,000, not more than that.
Hmm.
So per trade, I usually risk like 1,000 to 1,500, not more than that.
Well, that's pretty good. So, in your case, like you have been the most consistent trader the week before this, right? Like
Yes,
when it
yes,
comes to
yes.
your setups, yeah. So,
Yep.
what we are pretty much impressed is about your risk reward and like your ability to balance on four legs, whatever happens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, where are you from, man? Like, which place are you?
I'm from Mumbai,
Oh,
completely
you're
from
from
Mumbai.
Mumbai. So, how is your place now?
It's pretty good. I mean, the things are in much control, but
Okay.
the movement has been started like anything. So
Hmm.
things are going haywire,
Yeah,
and
same
people are
same
not.
issue at
Yeah.
Kerala also.
Acha, acha. Okay.
Almost the same issue. So you are from the IT field, right? And I
Yep.
guess you're having work from home now.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Like the way you are kind of progressing is like really good. In the sense like uh, basically your risk management. Now there are some people who are pretty much doing really good, but then when it comes to the risk management, they kind of find a hiccup here or there.
I faced the same thing. I mean, when I was, into the learning phase. So I remember a week, in 4 days, I was into profit. And on Friday, I lost all the profit.
Okay.
I do remember I mentioned you in the training as well, sir.
Yeah.
I made four trades for
Yeah.
winning. And in the fifth day, I was completely into losing it. So from that point, I basically completely analyzed my risk management, and I understood one thing, that in the market, one or the other day you'll make profit for sure.
Mm.
It's nothing like that. Okay, you won't be making a profit, but to sustain that profit and just to save that particular profit is the real skill.
Exactly. So even though it's not
So
profit, but we should be able to do that consistently.
exactly the point. So this week, like 4 days, I had a green day. So today, even though I had the chance to take opportunity in Zeal, but then I got my maxed out. I mean, I maxed out my risk.
Okay.
So I didn't went for another opportunity. Maybe if it would have reversed, then I
Okay.
would have lost more. So
Yeah,
I
it's,
just
it's absolutely fine now. Even if so, today, like entire day, I got a single trade on crude oil. I guess you must
okay.
have seen on Discord, like
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
got a
I'm just
short side, but
yeah.
that's it. Like that kind of made my day. So, like, just look at for quality setups where, like, where you find setups that you're most comfortable with. Now, in
Mm-hmm.
your case, I guess like your like sweet stocks are Seal, Tata Motors, and all. If
Yeah.
you have a pretty much good comfort in that, just stick with that. Like, even if you're not getting into index, it is perfectly fine. So, as long as
Mm-hmm.
you have your comfort in a set of stocks, just stick with that. So, you are in regular communication with Mr. Anish, right? Like Anish and he.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Anish was telling me like he is very much comfortable with Infratel. So Infratel is not a stock that I have ever traded in my life. So like everyone has a different
Right, right, right. I mean,
experience.
I just wonder how he trades in Infratel, because I spoke with him.
Hmm.
I had a call with him as well. Like he scalp like anything in Infratel. So I basically wait for levels to come up, but he's so sure in Infratel that when he enters, he makes money.
I guess last 2 weeks he is trading only in Infratel, nothing else.
Infratel, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it depends. Like so the more comfortable, like many people have this assumption that there is some there is some shortcut in picking stocks. Like every day you can
Mhm.
like you can spend maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes, use some screener, you can take out a stock and make money with it. But ultimately, like the best thing to do for the long run. Now, people actually focus on the index for the very same reason. See, people who
Right,
usually trade on the index, most of the times they completely stick on the index itself. Why? Because they
right.
actually don't need to spend time searching other stocks. Like
Correct,
if
correct.
I'm comfortable with the index, then why don't I just today also I had a question like why don't I trade natural gas? The reason is I have never
Mhm.
explored it.
Right,
I
right.
have never explored it. So I'm comfortable with crude. So why like right now I'm finding opportunities in crude. So I'll just stick with this. The same way, like if you have your favorite set of stocks or like put in maximum efforts in that. So rather than wasting your time checking here and there, that would be the best thing to do. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Because initially I used to, like take 4 to 5 positions in a day.
Okay.
So I particularly changed my setup. In August, I was trading with 5 setups. Like
Okay.
I used to take 5 trades in a day.
Okay.
So in that sense, what I realize is in the month end completely when I see the profits. So kind of like 30% went into brokerage. So I
Okay.
was like, you are earning it, but then the brokerage is also going down.
Hmm.
So in this September, what I made is I changed the setup. I moved it to 3 trades per day.
Hmm.
So in that 3 trades, initial first week was like if I get two losing trade,
Hmm.
ideally it was happening that the third one also went into losing.
Okay.
So uh,
Okay.
so I decided that if I lose first 2 trades, then I won't be taking third one
Okay.
because I'll be risking more.
Okay.
So yeah. So whenever I get a trade, if you see, like I get a losing trade as well in a day. But
Hmm.
then when I get a hit one, so it just like it gives me like 5 to 10% return on the capital.
Hmm.
So I usually don't go for over trades and all those things because I personally want to cut down the brokerage part. So this week I just calculated right now. So it's been like I made net of 16K. On that 1K went into brokerage. So
Did
if
you
you see
calculate the other charges or only the brokerage you have considered now?
the
Other
entire
charges.
brokerage,
Okay.
entire brokerage.
Okay. Basically, brokerage hasn't become a big factor. What becomes a big factor is the other charges that we pay.
Yeah, right, right.
So
So
okay, everything together is just 1K.
yeah, everything went into 1K because I've reduced the number of trades, and I just look for the opportunity wherein I get a chance. I can cover up a lot of the room on the upside or the downside. I don't trade if I see like 3 points and I'm keeping an SL of 3 points. So I usually don't enter.
Mm-mm.
So today also in Tata Motors I entered at 128.
Mm.
So the target was initially 130, and then the next target was 132, and the stop loss was at 120.30. So 50
Okay,
paise stop loss, and the first target was 2 rupees. The second one was 4 rupees.
that's pretty much great. Yeah. So yeah. So I guess you are personally using more of cover orders, right? If I'm not wrong, cover
Yeah,
orders.
yeah.
You're
Cover
using.
orders.
Yeah. So I often see your this thing screenshots. That's what we use cover
Hmm.
orders. So you're kind of pretty much comfortable with that as well.
Yeah, I got comfortable, but in the month of August, I was completely using MIS limit order.
Limit order.
So in the limit order, I used to go and place a separate order for the stop loss and all those things. So this month, I started using cover order. The
Mm.
two reason is like when I see my setup and if I see an opportunity, I get more leverage.
Okay.
And secondly, the stop loss has been placed at the same time. So
You don't have
what
it.
happened is, what happened is August last week, I took a trade and I forgot to keep an SL in Lupin, and I just went to freshen up. I thought I have kept the SL, but then it drastically fell down.
Oh,
So for cover orders, the best part I like is the stop loss, and then you just keep trailing it once it moves into your direction.
that's good. Pretty good. So now, since you are kind of checking out for a 1:3 setup and all now, exiting the order at the market price wouldn't become a concern.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, like when I see most of the trades that I personally take, kind of either okay, if it hits the target, it mostly is like 1:2. Like now, when
Okay.
let's say that I'm trailing to some extent, it becomes a 1:2.5. Now there are cases where I trail earlier when the market conditions just goes against me. So those times,
Mm-hmm.
like I probably would be having to exit maybe even at a 1:1 or a 1:1.5. So at those
Right.
situations, what usually happens is like if I kind of keep the cover order and I kind of exit my quantities at the market price, at times it becomes a concern. So
Correct.
that's the reason like why I personally go for limit orders. And
Mm-hmm.
another reason is that whenever I'm using limit orders, I also have the privilege to do partial exits. So
Correct.
whenever I'm trading, like most of the time, so for example, today's trade in crude also,
Mm-hmm.
like at different price levels, I exited different chunks. So
Okay.
that is kind of possible through limit orders, right? Like
Limit orders.
if I'm
Correct.
trading, let's say 100 quantities, I can book 50 here, 25 later, 25 later. That
Mm-hmm.
way I can do. So that
Mm-hmm.
is the reason why I'm personally comfortable with limit orders. And one more thing is that leverage, how long it is going to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, earlier I used to use purely bracket orders.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
so earlier, like purely it was bracket orders that was being used. But now, like I'm using limit orders. That's it. But definitely, like all of us have our own comfort, right?
Right. Right.
So we are comfortable with. That is the best thing to stick with.
I thought of giving a thought to go with this partial order placing.
Okay.
But what I found in equities is like in last 2 3 months it's been very volatile, and
Okay.
once it gives a breakout, it doesn't retest. It doesn't comes to that level. So
Okay.
particularly if you plan, like let's say if I plan a breakout at 190 rupees at Zeal, and if I want to go with 1500 quantities, and if I went with 500 first at 190, then I plan that let's say it will move up to 192 and then it will come back to 190 point something. Then I'll do the second booking. So it doesn't happen actually. If it gives a breakout in equities, it just went up like anything. Like
Mm.
today, I missed two things. One is in Lupin, another one is in Zeal. So if you see Lupin also from 1010, it went like 1020 in no time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like in that setup also, if you see, if I would have entered, I would have kept the stop loss at like 2 rupees or something, and the target was like 10 rupees. It gave the movement till 12 rupees, and then it completely got reversed from that.
Okay.
So I thought to go with that approach, but then I gave up because in equity I'm not getting that any chance at all to
Mm.
go with the partial orders and then exit partial orders and do it, because the market is very volatile in equities.
Yeah, yeah, it's perfectly fine. So yeah, so what you have said basically makes sense. Now, as far as like I personally think that you kind of stay in a trade maybe for at least a duration of half an hour. Like,
Yeah, yeah, more than that, more than that.
okay, so most of the trade,
Sometimes, sometimes if it gives a upside move and if my first target is achieved and I can see the momentum building up more on the upside, so I don't completely book it. I just wait for it to some pullback and then go back again. So likewise, 2 weeks back when I entered in Reliance,
hmm,
so the trade went up to like 2 hours. I entered at 9:45, and my trailing SL got hit at 12 o'clock.
okay,
But then, if I would have trailed it smartly, because in that trade, my mindset became that from that particular round level, it would be reversing it.
okay,
So I basically changed my setup at that last moment and trailed it very closely so that I don't miss much of the profits. But then, if I would have not changed my setup, I would have captured another 50 points in that.
hmm.
So it would be a crazy trade that day.
It happens. It basically happens at times.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty good. So, Java, like, as you know, like, why the reason why we are basically conducting the State of the Week, like, we are kind of shortlisting friends who we could kind of monitor a bit more closely. And
Okay,
ultimately, like, the aim is to list on the social trading platform.
okay.
So, would you be able to do that? Like,
Yeah, I'm completely up for it. Not a problem with me.
so it's kind of like it's completely up to you, like the timing. In the sense, like there is
Hmm.
no limitation as you should be pushing this many trades a day. You should be pushing
Right, right, right,
nothing at all. Why?
right.
Because so you must be knowing that. So for example, in this particular day, there was only a single signal that was pushed. That was from my side.
Correct,
So it
correct, correct.
happens. But only when there is an opportunity, then we push. Because people often have a thought, especially when people have been subscribing to call services, every day morning they'll send.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
So over here, only if I personally get an opportunity, I'll be pushing the signal, right? That also like
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
first role. So we had to wait for that. So yeah, and now we are currently like pushing with three people. Now we would be kind of definitely be liking to have you on board. Now one more like really good
Okay.
thing about you is you are somebody who focus on equities. Now
Mm-hmm.
especially when in the equity side, like there's a plenty of opportunities that could be tapped. Now, my personal comfort is basically right now in crude and index futures majorly.
Right.
Equity futures is just something that is tertiary, you can say. But definitely, we could work out a lot of things when it comes to equities. And since you have your favorite set of stocks like Seal and all, uh,
Mm-hmm.
so how do you like find Seal? Like, how do you find the momentum in Seal usually?
Zeal, I started trading like last month, and I find the momentum really good, because if you see the stock price, it's pretty less. It's not that much.
Okay.
And the two good things about Zeal is, once it gives a breakout, it purely follows the price action setup. It doesn't, gives a like a false breakout or something like that. If it just gives a breakout, then definitely it will travel in your direction.
Fine.
80% of the time it follows that particular thing. Secondly, the stock price is less, so you get more amount of quantity in less capital. Like if I trade with 40,000,
Hmm.
so in that 40,000, Zeal has that potential to give you back like 10,000, 15,000 in a day.
Hmm.
So that basically turns out to be like, if you say 40% of your return on your capital.
Hmm.
Ideally, in equity, you don't expect that much move and that much return. So these two things I like about Zeal. So that's why I focus a lot on that particular level, and I purely trade once it breaks the level. If it is in range bound, I usually don't enter. So I avoid it.
So basically, like you have been studying SEAL to a great extent, and you're pretty much comfortable. That's really great. So
Yes.
you have your favorite watch list also. That's really appreciable. Okay. So Javed, like, do you have something to ask?
Yeah, I have like couple of things to ask. So first thing is like right now, the plan till October end for me is like I'm trading with a capital of 40 to 50,000. So I'm not sure. Let's say if I get this much consistency till October end. So from November, how much capital I should be increasing it, and I should be purely, focusing on equity, or I should get some divergence into index and
Okay,
forex as well.
fine. So, Java, like when it comes to index, right? Now, since you are analyzing equities with some really good understanding, now tracking Nifty 50 would be pretty much not a big deal for you. Why?
Mm-hmm,
Because
mm-hmm.
Nifty 50 doesn't give much volatile moves as compared to Bank Nifty.
Right,
It
right.
gives decent moves. Nifty 50 gives decent moves. Uh, the momentum is not as much as Bank Nifty, but it gives decent moves. Okay, now price action setup like especially the bearish print bar reversals, now
Mm-hmm.
level breakouts. Okay, all these things we can look at in the case of Nifty 50, just the same way you would be doing in SEAL, the same logic.
Okay,
Now, when it
okay.
comes to Bank Nifty, when you're trading Bank Nifty, only thing is that you should definitely have a look at the banking stocks also. And
Correct.
if you kind of could keep a track of the banking stocks, then it becomes favorable for you. So somebody
Okay.
who's starting with, I personally feel Nifty 50, like if you're really good at equities, you could definitely do that. Now, something else that you could do now, since you are kind of getting into a bigger capital, okay, you
Mm-hmm.
could think about equity futures, so where your trades
Okay.
are done in lots. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, like it will be a bit more easier for you to get fills since you are trading in a bigger capital. So equity
Right.
futures you could try. Now, in case you are pretty comfortable with this, so that means like your primary focus should be on this itself. Why? Because
Okay.
usually what happens is when people are directly getting into index futures or index options, they kind
Mm-hmm.
of completely give away their focus. Like they kind of stop focusing on what they were really good at. Then they jump
Mm-hmm.
into
Mm-hmm.
something else because they must be feeling that others who are trading in that particular segment is making a much more bigger returns than what he
Right.
would. So don't
Right.
do that. So, like if you have allocated, let's say 100%, right now, if your 100% allocation is for equity, now when
Mm-hmm.
you are kind of going to get into index futures, ensure that your allocation is much, much, much lesser. Meaning your
Right.
income, like whatever profits that you're generating, it should be basically coming from what you're good at now. A part of that profit you can consider to try out in index futures. Just get comfortable with that. But until
Mm-hmm.
and unless you are pretty much comfortable, never ever think about using the complete trading portfolio. Why? Because let's say that I'm trading with 10 lakh rupees in equities. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
trading with 10 lakh rupees in equities and I'm doing good in equities, then what people do is when they're getting into futures or when they're getting into options, they get inside with 10 lakhs itself. But
Oh,
remember, when it comes to equities, we started with a 3K or a 5K.
correct,
Right.
correct, correct.
So we kind of got comfortable in equities by starting off with a 3K, 5K. We got comfortable with the logics. When it comes to, especially when it comes to options, the movements are very abrupt. I think like
Right.
within milliseconds, the price changes like
Yeah,
now
I
since
was just
it is
watching.
yeah, premium
I
change.
was what? Yeah, yeah. I was watching 11,000 put yesterday completely because I
Okay.
was not finding any opportunity.
Okay.
So I saw it like went up like anything.
Hmm.
Like I was watching it from 50 rupees. It went to 190 rupees in day end. So it's crazy moment.
So exactly like if you are pretty much comfortable in equities, you give your complete focus to equities. Now, whatever profits
Mm-hmm.
that you make, you could use a
Mm-hmm.
part of the profits to try your futures, options, all these things. Now,
Okay.
like honestly, I'm personally more comfortable with futures than options. Like I'm
Okay.
personally more comfortable in this. When it comes to options, the weekly
Mm.
strategies that is kind of playing out much more better, much more relaxed
Right.
also. That suits
Right.
my trading style.
Mm-hmm.
Now just figure out for yourself whether that suits you or not. But whenever you're getting
Okay.
into a new segment, never ever trade with the complete portfolio that you're using in the other segment. And
Right. Right. Right.
that is one other reason. Like just think about upstock, Zerodha, and all. Like if you add your
Mm-hmm.
balance in your trading account, that can be used for trading futures, it can be used for trading options, but not for the other market, not for crude.
Correct.
So
Correct.
same way,
Correct.
just do it for yourself. Like whenever you're trading a particular segment,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you use the majority of that. capital for trading your favorite from where you are generating great returns. Then part of the
Right.
profits you could think about. People make this mistake. Okay, just think about that. But it doesn't mean you can't trade other segments. You could definitely do. Now, crude, when it comes to crude oil, when it comes to index futures, also the same price action that we do in equities, you could follow. Only thing is, you just need
Okay.
to get comfortable with the momentum. Now, one more bonus is
Okay.
that when it comes to crude oil, when it comes to index and all, you don't have to wander here and there searching for which to trade.
Right.
Because
Right.
crude
Right.
oil
Right.
is there, right? So
Right. Right. Right.
every expiry it changes. That's it.
Correct.
So
Correct.
every time we're trading on the same thing, we are marking. For example, if you have seen Discord, like almost everybody was watching out for the same setup.
Correct. Correct.
So crude oil is only one now. Only one crude oil is there, so it is pretty easy to
Right.
track those. So that is
Mm-hmm.
another thing. Now, when it comes to working employees, they find real comfort in this. Why? Because most of the times you enter a trade, you can keep your stop loss and leave
Hmm.
because it's a
Correct.
very slow moment. Now, when it comes to forex,
Correct.
also is the same thing. Like when it comes to forex currency-based trading, also since
Mm-hmm.
price action can't be manipulated, since this is being a very large market and slow moments, that is also a very good uh, factor. Got it.
Correct.
So currently, I'm not into forex. I'm not into exchange. I'm not trading any currency pairs right now. The complete focus is on index futures, crude, and equity futures. So equity is also I track. Based on that, I take trades on equity futures. Then when it comes to options, it's more of a weekly option strategy that is being implemented. So that is great, man. Like that's great speaking with you. Like two, three things that I got to know from talking with you is that your risk reward is like 1:3. No, you kind of even get setups with 1:10. Like right now, I really don't know in this market condition if anybody else is getting a 1:10. That's pretty much.
Yeah.
Then another takeaway I have from you is like when it comes to seal, you are actually kind of finding some great momentum once it gives a directional move.
Yes.
That's
Yes. Yes.
pretty. So that could be something that everybody who is kind of tracking equities, especially equities, could watch out for. That's pretty good. So do you kind of have any lesson that you have learned as a beginner, okay, that others could make use of?
Yeah, so like on Instagram, I get a lot of message like I made this much losses, I enrolled into this much services and all those things.
Mm,
So when I started trading, I started in the month of April and May. I was
mm,
completely new into the market. I had zero knowledge about it. So like most of the people do, I just went into YouTube. I watched the traders doing the trade, making money. They used to post like they made 6 lakh rupees a day, they made 10 lakh rupees a day, and I just enroll into multiple Telegram channels and then wait for their calls, like which stock to buy, which stock to sell. So
and
two
that all
months,
of us have done, not only even I have done.
yeah, yeah. So the major lesson was in the 2 months I was completely not knowing what exactly to be done, like when to buy and when to sell. And initially I was like trading like 20, 25 trades in a day. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So I never made
Used
like
to
more
give you
than,
calls, so what your broker used to give you calls.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
broker.
Like yeah, yeah.
Which
So it's
broker
like
was? Which broker were you using?
I'm using Zerodha from the start.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. Okay.
So I lost around like 40% of the capital in 2 months of time. So then I realized that this is not working this way. So let's learn about it, how exactly it is to be traded. And then I got to know about you. So first 2 weeks I completely researched about you, what how exactly your training
How did
is,
you
and
research? How did you research about me? Like, I'm pretty much curious why because like I'm not someone who is my social media is kind of handled by my team. I assume you
right,
know that,
right,
right?
right.
So I'm pretty much curious about it. How did you research about me?
So it's like I usually start getting the ads and everything into Instagram. Like
Okay,
a lot of traders, you enroll into a service.
okay,
So the
okay.
one different thing what I found about you is
Hmm.
when I looked into your Instagram and I looked into your website. So the different part, what I was looking for is I was looking for live sessions.
Okay.
When I went to YouTube traders, those were also providing the training. So I wanted someone who can mentor it out. I
Hmm.
didn't wanted a recorded session.
Okay.
So those guys are providing the recorded session. And the second part, when I went to look about you. So I read the articles that you have been covered by Forbes, and you invented with this idea of like your
Okay.
own business, yeah,
Okay.
entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So from that, I read the reviews, how exactly the people are doing in your community. So I read through the testimonials of your Instagram channel, and then for 2 weeks, I was just following your channel, like what are the performances people are getting.
Okay.
So I was the good part is you just don't post how much made people have money have made. You put losses also. So
Hmm.
that is pretty clear. If you see other people, they don't put losses. Like they just put these many people made money.
Hmm.
But what about the people who lost the money?
Hmm.
So that's basically accepting your losses. So I found it pretty clear. And what I wanted is I wanted someone to give me live trainings and be
Hmm.
available for any problems I have. Like,
Hmm.
so what I read is people were just talking about if you want to connect with Hari Prasad, he'll be like just a call away. So that was the good part. So
So,
two
like, as
weeks I
long
was
as we
just,
are there at the desk, we are always free for calls.
yeah. So just 2 weeks I was just observing how exactly your community is and all those
Hmm.
things, your reviews and everything. Post that I decided, okay, let's go for it.
Hmm.
So then for 2 months I stopped trading completely. From
Okay.
May and June I didn't trade it at all because I didn't
Okay.
wanted to lose more capital.
Hmm.
So July I started. July it was break even. Like I made money, I lost money, so it was break even. August was pretty good. Like August I generated around 30-40% of the capital,
Hmm. Hmm.
and September again it's pretty good. Like September is again it's pretty good. Like
Okay.
following my setup.
So ultimately, you realize for yourself that risk reward is actually what is playing. Right. Like,
Correct,
ultimately,
correct,
everything is about risk reward.
correct.
Right. Because like, none of us can say that we are going to get this trade winning or this trade losing.
Obviously,
Yeah. So, but
obviously.
first of all, like what we should be guaranteeing ourselves is okay, let this trade go wrong. But if I'm just right, like one time out of the four trades I take, I'll still cover up for all the losses that I do. So
Correct.
ultimately, that is the that is something that we can actually follow whatever the market condition is. So let the
Right.
markets be trending, let the markets be volatile, choppy, whatever
Yes.
it is. Ultimately, like if our risk reward is pretty much balanced, then it's fine. And that is the exact reason why we have different traders.
Right.
Like that is the exact reason why we kind of have, like when it comes to a social trader also, like people kind of ask me like, why do you need these many people?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you kind of need to list, let's say, a 10 traders? So for our prop trading firm also, why do we need these traders? Like, why can't you do
Correct.
it all alone? Now the problem is, let's say that I go wrong, my perceptions are completely going wrong, I lose control over my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Like I lose my emotions completely one fine day, because we are all humans, we are bound to make mistakes,
Right.
right?
Right.
One
Right.
day I completely lose control over my emotions, then all of a sudden I kind of start gambling.
Correct.
Right. So what
Correct.
will happen? I'll wipe out everything. But
Right.
if we have 10 qualified people, let's say one
Mm-hmm.
person is actually doing this, but other people are kind of continuously sticking discipline, then things will work out. Now, like
Correct.
what I'm personally thinking about is like I'll personally focus more on risk management of the other trade.
Mm-hmm.
So, like that is exactly how it works at prop firm. So, somebody else is actually having an overlook on the risk that you're taking. So, if
Okay.
you, so just like your broker gives you a margin call, right? Okay, you're
Mm-hmm.
using excess
Mm-hmm.
leverage, you're running in this
Mm-hmm.
much loss, cut your positions. Now, what if like every trade that you take, your broker is telling you don't risk more than 2% or don't take the setup? Why? Because this is not a favorable risk reward.
Right.
Yeah. So gradually, like I'm thinking about getting into that, where I personally
Mm-hmm.
focus purely on the risk setup, while individuals can perform the trades. So that's great, Manjaved. Like speaking with you was great.
Yeah.
So
So same
yeah.
here.
So I'll add you to the group.
Sure.
Basically, add you to the group. So let's kind of
Sure.
see how we could track things.
Sure.
Okay.
Would do.
Okay, Javed.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah, sir. Have a great evening ahead. Yeah.
happy weekend.
Happy weekend to you, sir. Bye.
Bye.